everyone, I'm here today with the game Dawn by Green Meadow Games, designed by Taylor Hayward. It is a 2 to 5 player game of village building that might include a traitor called a Scoundrel or several traitors. Let's take a look at how to play and then I'll tell you what I think about the game. All right, everyone, here is the game about ready to be set up. We have this giant deck of cards, which is pretty awesome. We have our wound cards, which everybody's going to get 2 of. You're going to deal 7 of these to everyone to start. You have your building cards, which also includes some other things that we'll talk about in a second as we set that up. We also have our great building cards. They can just go along the top because people can play on these each round. But they are the only ones that can be played on during the 6th round. The game is played over 6 rounds. And we have a little player aid card that shows what the different types of cards are that might be in hand, including attack cards, heal cards, spy cards, and wild cards. Or, as I would say, daggers, healing, spies, and coins is what I call them. On the back you have a reference for the different types of buildings that are here and what they might do, what their different values might be, what the different types of threats might be that are in this deck, including barbarians, bandits, and plagues. Basically ones that you need daggers and spies and coins, sorry, not coins, healing to deal with. So great reference card. So here's the reference card that shows you what's up with allies and scoundrels. Allies have to have less than 7 treasures stored. Scoundrels will have 7 or more stored by the end of the game. And if you, let's say everybody abandons one person and they're the only person that is an ally, they only need 30 prosperity points or more to win. Or if you only have 2, 60. So it's not that it plays solo, it's just that you could be the only person that is still an ally trying to build the buildings in town, and you need less of a score to win, versus if everybody stays, then you need 150 points to win. If the allies fail, the scoundrel with the most treasure wins. Each player gets a storehouse card. That's all this is for. And this, I just want to show off the nice art here because it does have quite nice art. So you're going to take one of those and you're going to get your 7 cards from the deck. I already took a hand, so I'll show you my hand and we'll talk about it. And you get 2 wounds that can only be removed via healing. So healing is this symbol here. We'll go ahead and talk about that. If I had 3 healing, I could remove a single wound from mine or somebody else's hand. That's one action I could take. But the very first thing I have to do is, let's say I just put one of these cards in my storehouse after seeing the setup. So we'll set up like we're playing a 5-player game. A building, cool, a building. Oh no, we have a threat and another building and a threat and a threat. So these are the 3 types of threats. We have this plague here. Let me make sure I use the correct terms. A plague, a bandit, and a barbarian that we have to deal with the green, the red, and the blue cards, which are also outlined here, that you have attack cards, spy cards, and heal cards that you can place on those. If I place 4 here, then I deal with that. I never see what's on the other side, so somebody could use a spy card to see what's on any side of these. If they do, they don't have to tell us the truth. So maybe they tell us this is a really bad threat, but actually it's not. Nothing happens, okay? But we wouldn't know that unless we also used a spy to look at it. Why might I not want to do that? Well, I need spies to build this great building. I also need spies to take care of this bandit. So there's lots of reasons you'll do things in the game. Like, you're going to keep track of how many rounds you've played via the storehouses here. There's a first player marker. You're going to be playing cards. You can play a single card or all your cards on your turn. Maybe I want to start, putting coins over here because I put a negative treasure under here. I'm going to start putting coins to help out with this great building up here. Or maybe I will just put 1 up there to help with that later on. And then I will put, since this has 2 treasures, maybe I'll start helping with this house here and do something like that. And we go around using all of our cards, and then we resolve the buildings first, then we resolve threats. If we do take care of the threat, it just goes away and we never see what's on the other side. That's one reason people can lie. But if we don't resolve the threat, then we see what's on the other side. This one says destroy the lowest cost building that you've already built. So that's why we build buildings first. That's a bad thing, that we would destroy the building. This one is also destroy the lowest cost building. So we might lose 2 buildings if we don't deal with those threats. we'll keep going around playing things. The other thing that's going to happen is as we go through the game, you're going to notice that somebody is probably trying to sabotage you and be the scoundrel. If someone is the scoundrel, they're going to start putting treasure underneath. This is treasure here. They're going to start putting treasure underneath here. So maybe I had that -1 there before, but I traded out with a 3 on a turn in the future, and then I start. So maybe as soon as I have 7 here, I know I'm a scoundrel. At the end of the game, when we have all 6 under here, 6 cards, we're going to look at how many treasure we have. If we have 7 or more, so like this, I have 8, but it's not just that I'm the scoundrel. I need to have the most treasure. So here I only have 8, but maybe I would be able to get like, I don't know, maybe 16 by the end of the game stored in my storehouse. If I have 16, I'm definitely a scoundrel, and I probably have a good chance of winning because I have more treasure in my storehouse than anyone else. If I'm not a scoundrel, if I'm an ally, I'm just trying to build these buildings, and then the great buildings, which are the only thing that can be built in round 6. If I'm able to do all that with other players, then I can win the game. Or if I want to win as a scoundrel, I just need to have the most treasure. This is definitely a hidden traitor game. There's no doubt about it. You're going to have one or more traitors at some point in the game, but maybe you can convince them to come back to your side. So there's this social negotiation that's happening, this thing where you're trying to balance out, hey, are we doing enough good? You know what? The allies could win if they just get their score, and there's points when you realize that the allies are going to be able to get their score, but then there's times when you want to just completely sabotage that, like the great buildings, for example. You can sabotage all of them except for this. Well, actually, even this one you can just sabotage. This is one that you could only needs treasure to build, but if you sabotage it by putting negative treasure there, you can sabotage it, but that seems kind of counterproductive. Unless of course you're just a scoundrel putting treasure underneath your storehouse, and then you can put negative treasure. Anyways, yeah, there's lots of ways to sabotage it. This one, you get points for every other building. Actually every building built, including this one. And if you put spies here, if you put those blue spies here, then it's going to negate the coins that are here. This one gets negated by wild cards and healing cards, and it is worth 30 points, and then this one is worth 10 points per ally without wounds. So if you see somebody that just never heals or doesn't want to be healed or something like that, you know that almost certainly that they're a scoundrel, probably, unless they're just doing other things with their turn. Maybe they were trying to help with this card, who knows? But you have a good idea, and you should probably spend one of your spies at some point to find, because this one will get sabotaged by those attack cards, those daggers. And so you're doing all this stuff, and you can, the thing I didn't tell you about is that your allegiance can change at any point, because even though you're putting cards underneath your storehouse to keep track of where you are in the game, you can trade those cards out with cards in hand at any point. You could be a scoundrel at one point and an ally at another point and then a scoundrel. The only thing that really matters is what is in your storehouse at the end of the game. That will determine your final allegiance, and you're trying to balance out, are there enough other allies left? Or is the 1 or 2 allies that are left, are they going to get 60 points? Because maybe if they get 60 points, if there's 2 of them, then maybe I should just join them and find a way to get 30 more points in there, because I don't have enough treasure to be the scoundrel who's going to win. So I need to give up trying to be a scoundrel and stop sabotaging everything and help here at the end. And so you're balancing that out and trying to convince people to come to your side, because you can't actually show them your cards. You just have to tell them and help people believe you with limited amounts of information. And that is what makes this game fantastic, is that you're never going to have all the information. You're only going to have bits and pieces of information, including how many cards are played out and how things seem to be going. And somebody might try to do the right thing and still get the finger pointed at them, and they might be accused. This is a really good game. I like it at 3 to 5 players. 3 to 5 players is a lot of fun for Dawn by Taylor Hayward and published by Green Meadow Games. Let me know what you think of the game. It's probably not going to be for those who don't like lying or this type of back and forth negotiation type of thing where you don't have perfect information. Definitely not a perfect information game. Let me know what you think though. Happy gaming. I'll catch you later.